Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Art with Jim. Today we're going to be looking at artist Keith Haring, and I want to point you to the iPad here. I have one of his famous works of art up, and it is a picture of two stick figures that look awfully happy to see each other. How do we know that? Well, take a look at these lines kind of coming off the top. They look very bright, very happy, even without faces, which is really incredible. Keith Haring is the guy who put stick figures into the art museum, right? Now look at these characters here. Maybe think of one or two things you can tell me about them. I'll wait. Go ahead. Think of it. Okay, those are some awesome ideas, right? And I'm hearing you. Yes, they look like they are moving. How do they look like they're moving? Well, check it out. There are squiggle lines all over them. So if you just drew a stick figure with squiggle lines coming off it, it looks like it's moving. It's a great trick. It also could be, look, maybe it's because they're holding each other up, right? There's this community of little figures here holding each other up, holding things together. And I love that idea. Yeah, and it's also extremely what? Yeah, extremely bright colors. That guy loved colors. And we're going to be using some really, really bright colors for our lesson today. Let me go ahead to the next image. Okay, so here's Keith Haring drawing in the New York City subway. This guy brought art to the people, right? He didn't make you go to the art gallery. He brought it to you. So let's say you're waiting for the bus or the subway. You might look and spot one of his artworks here. He would find empty areas where there was no advertisement, and he would put his art with chalk. So the same way that you draw on your sidewalk on a sunny day, he did the same, but he did that in the subway so that everyone could see his art. And I brought this one out, right? Because of this guy. How many eyes does he have? That's right, 3. And 3 eyes says what? Yes, it's a monster, and anybody who draws monsters is okay in my book. And look at this. This guy's funny too. DJ Dog, right? And look, he's talking, right? Because again, lines. He uses lines to show movement, like spinning, right? Dancing, and even talking. And there it is. There it is on a sneaker. So if you want to wear Keith Haring around, you could, right? And he makes lots of that stuff. He made lots of t-shirts too, so that you could wear his t-shirts. You could still go and buy his t-shirts today. All right, I brought this up because this was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest puzzle ever created. 32,000 pieces, right? 17 feet wide. So think about that. That is one big puzzle. So I'm going to pause there, and now we're going to go off to our artworks here. Check it out. I did something with this paper. What did I do? Yeah, that's right. I have this nice lavender tape. Any kind of masking tape or painter's tape would do, but basically I made a frame of tape. I'm going to show you the magic that will create a little bit, okay? I'm going to be able to pull that off and have a nice white frame around my artwork, the same way Keith Haring has here too. So let's move on to the bright colors. I have some really bright tempera colors, and I have my piece of foil here. So let me lay this out. Okay. The foil is my palette. That's where I put my paint. Foil is a nice solution if you don't have any other place to put your paint. Ooh, look at that. When I put down the paint, it causes a mini earthquake. Ready? Whoa. So there's my paint. Okay. And here's where I'm going to paint. So I want a really, really bright color background. I could just do one color like Keith Haring did here, right? But I'm going to go for a couple. So watch this. I'm going to go for some yellow. And I should say this is bright paint. Bright paint. I'm using a foam brush, but any brush will do. But remember, the smaller the brush, the longer it will take. So I wanted to use a pretty big brush and kind of thin paint. I don't want to add too thick a paint, right? This is just a background. Here, we should see a little bit of magic here. Ooh, I added pink, and believe it or not, pink and that yellow make what color? Yeah, that's right. It is making an orange color. Well, why? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because pink is just red and white. So the red and yellow mix, right, to get orange. How's that? Not bad. It's very thin. I'm keeping it very thin. You can see I poured way too much paint. I don't need that much. Okay, I'm going to do some green here in the corner. Ooh, I am making a color here Yeah, it's kind of a brown. Why? Well, the pink again has red in it, and green and red make, you got it, it's brown. So I'm going to jump to a different brush. There, much better. I actually wanted green. You might want brown. There are no wrong colors, guys. But remember, if you mix all the colors together, sometimes you get like a gray or a brown. Maybe I'll add a little yellow. Ooh, brighter green. Okay, you might be asking, why is it shiny? Well, I have a lamp on, right? You can kind of see it a little bit here. The lamp makes it shiny because it's still wet. So it is going to dry for a bit. So in the meantime, I actually can do this while it's still a little wet. I have a pencil here. Yep, happy Halloween, everybody. And I'm going to draw some figures and some lines. The trick is to have your lines kind of far apart. Okay, I'll say that again. I don't want my lines too close together because I'm going to be going over these lines with some paint. And I need a little space. So a lot of times people tell me, they say, Mr. Jim, all I can draw is stick figures. And I'm going to say, hey, draw like Keith Haring because that guy made stick figures look good. So check it out. See how I'm drawing some lines? They're a little hard to see. Why? Well, it's pencil. I'm going to resolve that in a little bit. By resolve, I mean I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. Now, this guy needs a friend, right? So I'm drawing my circle head. And this one, she's coming from the top, right? Two figures and a lot of squiggle lines. Wow. This is the part that I love, right? Where it just starts to become easy and fun, right? We did all that hard work and now I can just have fun and draw. All right, so you're probably seeing some of these lines come through. Again, you can't see them great, but I'm gonna fix that. So here's where you have two options. Everybody loves options, right? Paintbrush with some black paint, or a black marker. In this case, I think Sharpie works best, but you might have to ask for it, right? If you don't have Sharpie, black Crayola marker works too, or black marker for any brand. And the only thing I have to watch for is that this should be dry. And you could see, remember I said it was shiny? A lot less shiny now, right? Because it's dried or drying. It's almost there. I'm not going to use the Sharpie because it might still be a little wet, but that's important because Sharpie on wet paint means dried up marker, right? Sharpies don't like wet paint. So make sure it dries if you go that route. I'm going to go black paint. So let me put on some black paint here. Okay. And again, brush. Big brush or little brush? Yeah, little brush. Okay. Ooh, and I got some paint dust on my picture here. Let me wipe that off. Okay. Now here I'm going to very carefully paint over my lines. Whoa. Remember I said you couldn't see them so well, but I was gonna fix it. Whoa. Look at that pop. That's a term that artists love to say. When things pop, that means they jump out at you, right? And that's what Keith Haring did a lot of. And you could notice here, take a look. There's a dark outline on just about every one of his drawings, right? He loved line. He drew with line. That's why he did stick figures. Stick figures could be called just line figures. Okay, this is so fun, guys. Black paint. Okay, let me do my figure here. Oh. Nice. Notice I keep dipping in the paint, right? I don't want a dry brush. What do I mean by dry brush? Let's say I don't dip in the paint. After a while, look at that. It starts to dry out a little bit. I want the paint kind of thick. So after every brush stroke, I go back for more. Because you're just going to end up throwing out that extra paint anyway. So you might as well use it, guys. Whoa. And look at these lines. Look, I added that line, even though I didn't draw it with pencil. Why? Because I was inspired. I wanted to show these guys dancing, right? You don't always have to stay in the lines, right? They're just guidelines. They're just a jumping off point, a place to start. But you get to decide where it finishes. Wow. Whoa. Can I overdo it? Yeah. So I need to stop soon, right? Otherwise I'm not going to have any background color. Maybe I'll stop there. And it looks like my guy here has a little tail. That's okay. So maybe you need ears too. There we go. And there's a tail here. Okay. That was fun. I made a little story here, right? Even really without knowing it. All I had is a couple figures and a whole lot of dancy lines. So remember I promised a little bit of magic later on. Ideally I'd let this dry before I took the tape off, but I'm just gonna go for it. Ooh. Wow, look at that. You'd call that a frame, right? It's a nice, clean, kind of white border around my picture. And boy, does that look great. The tape takes off a little bit of the paper sometimes, but that's okay too. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Wow. What do you guys think? All right, what's left? Well, I think something I left out in other videos, I need to sign my name, right? Another great reason why you can have a frame or a border. It's a great spot to put your name. So that was a whole lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to meet my friend Keith Haring here, and hopefully you can make something in his style as well. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.